What's good? This is Aspects Land of a Changing Man. I'd like to welcome you to the show. My name is Cole Washington. What I'm coming here to do is to try to make a different direction. Basically, we are not here to argue with other people about the direction we're supposed to be going. What we are supposed to be doing is arguing with ourselves, arguing with these thoughts that have us going the opposite way of what we should be going. There's a lot of people that want us to become the greatest of men, even ourselves. So the best thing that we could do is to come together as men to help each other become a better man. I go against a saying I like to say it's called black stagnant. Black stagnant to me is just another person talking bad about another person just so they can stay in a position of where they are because they don't know how to rise above themselves. So instead of seeing what's wrong with them, they look for a crack in somebody else's house so they can expose that, so they can stay as beautiful of the house that they are. But really, it's really hurting the kind of position that we put ourselves in because of the fact that we could be looking at ourselves. We could be looking in that mirror and saying, this is my mistakes and this is how I want to grow. The real thing that is getting us stuck is we don't know what we really are. We don't know who we really are. We got to discover as men who we really are. We are leaders. We are leaders in these households. We are leaders in these streets. But we have to discover that so that we can get everybody to follow behind the right way. There's been a lot of great leaders that came at our time and tried to show us what is really going on. But as you know, as the Bible says, when you kill the shepherd, the sheep will scatter. And a lot of times we've had leaders that we've depended on a lot. And when that person was gone, we scattered. Instead of somebody rising up to say that they're going to take the position of moving us forward, or even people, because it could have been a group of people that said, just like in the Bible, when Jesus went away, the 12 disciples stepped in. But we haven't had anybody to step in and say, we're going to keep going down the road that we're supposed to be going. So we've depended on a leader too much. Just like when a team depends on LeBron James a little bit too much and he goes down or he goes to the bench and nobody can really do the job to keep the team, afloat as much as he can. So I don't think that we've found that kind of thing inside of us to be able to rise above who we are. We go. We have a lot of people that have found the recipe, but have not thought of what the recipe really was to get them out of the position to help others get themselves out of the position. I feel like a lot of us are stuck because we either want to stay at the top by ourselves because it is lonely at the top, or just to keep somebody else down so they don't come up there with them that will knock them out of the position that they're in. It's a scary place. It's a lot of people, a lot of groups that I feel have wanted black men to stay out of the limelight. So, not out of fear, but out of respect. Because they want to stay in the position that they're in. Out of the fear of what would happen if they come down from there. See, when you go through a time period of lacking in something, just like if you're homeless in the streets for a long time and you find a way out of it, you basically want to put yourself in a position to where it can never happen again. Even if that means pushing other people out of the way so that they don't come and see your weakness to knock you down to be able to get back to that position of being hungry and homeless and cold out on the streets with nowhere to go. But that's a lot of cultures. And if you look at us, we are strong and we do love hard. So when we get somewhere and when we get into a position or we find something that is grand to us, We love it to the end of the world. I think that we haven't come together as men to find a common goal like we have in the past to be able to knock the wall down to get us up out of the position that we're in right now. A position that a lot of people are fighting to get in, but we're fighting to get out of. I look at a lot of situations that have happened when it came to us wanting to rise out of that position, and a lot of people would be mad because instead of us instead of us saying we'll take them by the hand, we'll say you can do it too, and that would make a person mad because they look at, or that would make a person not mad. I can't think of the word at the moment. I'm live, but it make them envious towards the other person because that person may have been something that they can't be, or that person has had a position in somewhere that the other person can't get to or feel like they can't get to. So instead, they want a hand to grab onto, and if they don't have that hand, then they turn into a crab in the barrel. They want to pull you down. If we come together and we are able to not only talk about our issues, and I'm not talking about the people that are up there telling the people that are down here how to do things. It's the people that are up there interacting with the people that are down here to close the gap in the positions, in the interactions that we're able to get. Because it's kind of, for me, the number one thing that a man without God preaches is fear. And a lot of people fear that they won't be able to get to a position. And a lot of the preaching, especially in like hip hop and in hip hop music, has been be in fear if you don't have what I have, because that makes me more able to even step inside of your house to become who you are. So if you don't, you could be a doctor, but if you don't have the type of money that I have, that means nothing. Uh, be scared that I could take your woman. Be scared that you'll never be able to get on these trips, or you'll shine like me, or people won't respect me as much as they respect you because of the money that I have. But like I was saying, the gap of people that are preaching these things need to close in with the people that don't have those things. And that's where we'll be able to work together to be able to come up there. Just telling people that you can do it too, or that you you can do it too, or you can get there. It's not going to help their self-esteem when situations get overwhelmed because they're not a hot rapper, or they're not a producer or actor or a good singer. So that will overwhelm a person and make them envious of another person. We want to come together, but we want to come together, and that's the main thing. That's the main thing that we should be preaching, is how do we become a better man? Because not a lot of people are gonna want to be rich. They're gonna want to just work their lives and be happy, raise their family, make sure their kids get to school, make sure their kids get into get a better education, get a better job, get a better career, a better family than what came before them. So they work that hard, not to outshine another man, but just to raise their family. So it's kind of it's that type of situation where, are we going to preach to people to be rich, or are we going to preach to people to be at peace? So there's a lot I could talk about, but I do not want to ramble on, and I do not want to get off topic of what I was doing today. So I'm going to leave this episode a little bit short at this timing, but I do want to hear from people if you think that I'm right, if you think that I'm wrong, or you think that there's something else we can learn from. I definitely want to hear from you. And with everything that's going on, I'll holler.